What types of people do you dislike the most?
Pioneer Dingus says people who can't apologize when they are in the wrong. My boss blames me for losing shit that he misplaces all the time and acts like a total douche until he finds it where his dumbus left it. Then gets all quiet and says, oh, here it is. Never an apology even a single time.
Iridescent Artichoke says people who always jump on the bandwagon without forming their own opinions.
Twin1Reddit says people who say I probably won't like you on their social media. 3Worth0G says people who have a major ego. You know, the ones who like to shit all over someone but throw a tantrum when someone throws input or suggests something to them.
Traplickpitlord says people who constantly try to contradict simply just to go against you, in all things.
Leg Dragger says I hate people that use another person's mistake as an excuse to continually put them down when the guilty party is actually present and cooperating. I understand being angry and I understand wanting to give somebody a taste of their own medicine, but there is a difference between making a point and taking punishment so far that you defeat the same point you just made.
McKinney says bullies assholes people who try to use others as doormats.
Demon's Reach says people who always bail on you last minute.
JCGK 1123 says people who have to one-up everybody else. Basically Sarcastic says people that belittle other people for not knowing something. It's okay not to know something, teach them instead of laughing at them.
Anya Neil Sidaprist says when everything is someone else's fault.
Raven says I can't stand people who tear other people down for being passionate about something. Like, if it's important to you, would you want someone else to call that dumb or say you talk about it too much? No.
Diegso says people who invest all their energy into being emotionally manipulative to get what they want.
Haley 9000 says people who never feel the need to question their own assumptions and beliefs.
KeenLust05 says people who are intentionally cruel to others.
The Great Witch Page says arrogant people and those that don't think about others as worthy of their help.
Pink Pig says pathological liars.
MR Noel says people who let their kids do anything.
Luckime 1337 says people who complain about something they don't understand.
Blue Lemon 126 says the people who just won't listen to other people.
Camtime 1 says hypocrites are the worst.
Cool Move 5e says people who are obnoxiously loud, people who think they know shit about shit when they don't know shit about that shit. Double Stuffed Oreo says pretentious or gatekeepy people. Let people enjoy things, and quit acting like your shit don't stink.
Hellraiser says all of them. Hey Past Hammer says well actually people. Half the time they don't even know what they're talking about. They just say it in a condescending enough tone that people don't challenge them on it.
True Islam says entitled people drive me crazy. They think that the world should revolve around them and it doesn't. They are just people like everyone else and not as important as they think they are.
Fair winds following CS says people who chew loudly. Baggy Harry Nips says somebody called the cops complaining that my car was parked facing the wrong way on the street and I had to get up at 5:30 a.m. to move it. You know, if you steal, or sell drugs, or get too riled up and hurt somebody, I get it. I can forgive you. We all do dumb things. But if you are the type of person who reports my car for facing the wrong way in front of my own house, you are beyond redemption. You are evil. You just want to hurt people for the sake of it. And I hate you in the purest sense of the word.
MR Barnes says control freaks.
Mental Refrigerator 7 says people who talk in the theater.
Nick Nicando says people who only talk about themselves in a conversation and don't ask for the input of the one they are talking to. Then if the other person is talking, they'll quickly get the conversation focused back on themselves. I used to do this unconsciously. When I learned to actually ask people about themselves or how their days are going, I realized both people liked me a lot more and I in turn liked them a lot more. No one's like's a selfish prick, it turns out.
Existentialism 91342 says flakes and dishonest people.
Shepherd's Conscience says people who put very loud exhaust on their vehicle. But my yard backs up to a fairly well-used street and I hear it inside my house.
Felix Austin says people who have to one-up you when you complain about something. Oh, you have a headache? You don't even know what a real headache is. I just want to complain in peace.
Stikaya with an eagle says people who ask intentionally inflammatory superfluous questions.
Pasadena a true story says micromanagers.
Mr. Fribble says people that claim to be the victim when they are the ones that caused whatever damages they are saying was done to them.
Gruyere and Bacon says people who ghost you after no explanation.
Spice Invader 1234 says people who shit anywhere in the stall other than inside the toilet bowl. Those people should not be allowed in public unless they have paperwork stating that they are unfit of going to the toilet by themselves.
No Company 9 says people who always make negative assumptions. I'm not saying folks should be all Pollyanna-ish, but the world is not out to get you.
Lone_Wolfie3 says people at restaurants who are not polite to wait staff. They work their butts off all day, so you should thank them even if it is not necessary. I always do.
Herbert Crouppen says hey man, haven't seen you in 3 years. Say, you still have a pickup truck? Well, we found this couch.
Jenkins89 says coworkers who don't wash their hands after taking a dump.
Christsack17 says people who can't take responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault or just bad luck. Also entitled people. They think the world owes them something. Can't stand them.
Giles Ally says people who hate popular things just to seem edgy, smart or alternative. A Pancake says loud for no reason.
Bears Bob says gatekeepers. No way you could ever have a better or worse experience than they did. No way you could possibly be more skilled in something than they are. No way you could possibly understand anything like they can.
Jendazane says anti-vaxxers and flat earthers.
BI270 says people who use the word literally when they don't actually mean literally.
Honest Painting says people who obsess over social media. There isn't a more pathetic bunch. Instagram influencers are hilarious. Option B is people who complain endlessly about something that they have the power to change. The person complaining about being fat when they suck down McDonald's 5 days a week.
John_Carver_2020 says people who are intolerant of other people's cultures. The Dutch.
Sit at 123 says people who are nosy, like deal with your own problems.
King Kai Pinky says people who yell at minimum wage or customer service employees for something either not that big of a deal or not their fault. Big Boy 821 says extreme extroverts who force others into uncomfortable situations.
Superal says people who can't take a joke or understand sarcasm. Life is short, have a laugh. Kikanik says hypocrites. Like religious ones who treat others like shit. People who want to be treated like royalty but treat others like shit.
Luca G982 says people who aren't willing to learn, or who are too cool for education. You're not special because you don't like books, or because when will I ever use that? You're ignorant. Just because it doesn't involve you, doesn't mean it's irrelevant.
Major Jackson says the ones who attempt to manipulate you and clearly think their pathetic attempt is akin to the mentalist or some shit. It's obnoxious they'd even bother, and it's a waste of my time, which really just pisses me off. Also, on a level I find it highly irritating because I know they picked me as a mark because I'm a young woman who likes to talk to people, so I must be a total rube, right? Fuck off with that crap. A toddler could see right through you, Jesus.
Iwoofy1 says I hate myself.
Chquaner 1001 says holier than thou one ape Christians who claim to read the Bible, yet nevertheless practice nothing remotely like what it says. My testicular torsion says people who cheat on their significant other. Ragged 1 says people who gets offended by anything you say no matter if it is a joke or not and try to dominate and make everyone respect them. Chill, life is short to make people hate you. Shorse Rider says bitter types.
Other bread throwaway says whiners, especially people who whine about having no friends right after I just tried to befriend them, and they wonder why no one likes them.
Queer Goddess says idiots who get upset at other people for their own stupidity. Huff88 says Karen.
USAI's Aok says woohoo girls. So loud and obnoxious. N0SMAS says attention whores followed closely by people who always act super self-righteous and make it their goal to find everything offensive.
UG Arjamal says two-faced people.
SC1F1 sub 3RM0 minutes says people who only ever talk about themselves. Unless they ask to a question, the answer to which they directly relate back to themselves without really listening.
Rathka96 says people who never really try to consider the opinions of others.
Iwatori says hypocritical evangelists Bibles preachers in favor of modesty, so why you need a stadium-sized church, 2 mansions and 2 private jets.
Pink Flash says people who are flat out shats to others and when called out on it, try to hide behind, it's a joke or everyone is so sensitive. Weirdly enough, these same people usually cry about free speech, but only their own. Any social consequences for their actions are unfair.
Bonky1 says people who flex all the time.
Paperclip1213 says narcissists. The Calico Jack says people who chew with their mouths open. It is so fucking disgusting. Especially when they smack their damn lips. I wish they could be in someone else's shoes when they eat like that. 19Chrissy84 says people who always play the victim or search for sympathy or act like they're ill for attention.
Death by Pun says I hate the extremely extroverted conspiracy theorists, who act like they're above the law, and like their eyes are open more than everyone else, but in reality, they're really dumb, arrogant pieces of trash.
Troll King 66 says religious people that endlessly proselytize their god on every fucking person they encounter.
Soinav says people who cheat in a relationship, absolute scum.
Ralph Lauren 06 says the people who don't vaccinate their kids.
Cryptkeeper says people that try to figure you out within 5 minutes of meeting. Go fuck yourself, alright?
Dip and Flipper says stupid people with no self-awareness. Shamatode says people that excuse bad behavior by saying everyone does it.
Arbsfarts89 says Nazis.
Alvitori says authoritarians.
Graphy Dufo says narcissists and hypocrites. Often one and the same in my shitty experience.
Halesfie says bad parents.
A lover space says middle school bullies. Fucking ruthless. I only troll idiot says I'm having trouble picking between rude people. We get it. You think it's okay to be a fuckface to people for whatever reason. Problem is this rudeness usually stems from some perceived superiority or self-importance. And it's likely only manifesting because of deep insecurities. Play in traffic, you edgy fuck. Self-centered people. OMG, let's talk about me. I'm going to make everything you say into something about me. Your beloved family member isn't doing well. I hope you're ready to unpack all of my problems that will present themselves so I can re-establish my rightful place in the middle of the universe. If only they were in the middle of the universe, in the middle of a black hole if science has any sense of justice. Know-it-alls, fuck these people. You just must be right because you can partially regurgitate a wildly inaccurate paraphrasing of something you heard 8th hand. And if I want to contribute something, time for me to just go and eat a dick and die. Because I'm the wrongest person who has ever wronged. Guilty pleasure, fact check immediately and correct loudly. White knights, forsooth. Doth lady need to rest her alabaster cheek upon mine armed breastplate? Take shelter in the shadow of my shield. Because clearly you're incapable of being your own independent person and you need me to support you. Mayhaps I should fall upon my sword. How can we be expected to choose?